It's time for the Soul Calibur 2 review for the Gamecube. Soul Calibur 2 was released on 3 different systems, the PS2, the Xbox, and of course the GameCube. What's significant about it is that each game for the 3 different consoles all had a bonus character that was significant to that particular system. In other words, if you had the PS2 version, you had the option to play as Heihachi from the Tekken series. If you had the Xbox version, you had the option to play as Spawn from the comic book series. And if you had the GameCube version, you had the option to play as Link from the Legend of Zelda series. Soul Calibur 2 is a fighter, as you probably already knew. There are lots of different modes you can play. Let's start with arcade mode. In this mode, you're put up against different fighters in different stages. After so many fights, you will come to your destined battle where it'll show you a little side clip of you and your opponent before you actually fight. After you win that battle, you get to face Inferno, who acts as the boss. Arcade mode ends when you defeat him. There's a more in-depth adventure mode called Weapon Master mode. Here, it will start you off on one side of the map, and it's your job to basically get to the other side and defeat the final boss. The game will set you up with a story, so that's not just all mindless fighting. But I actually didn't care about the story. I wanted the mindless fighting. In each region of the map, there will be multiple areas to fight in. After you win a fight, you will be awarded with experience and gold. Now, it's been a really long time, and I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure that experience doesn't really do anything but level up your title. The gold, on the other hand, can be used to purchase new weapons, costumes, artwork, and video clips. Some regions have special rules, like only your opponent's weapons will be visible, or for each hit you land on your opponent, you will gain extra gold, and some will just be a normal fight. There are some stages that act as a maze or labyrinth that you have to complete in order for you to gain experience. These stages were my least favorite because of the loading times after each fight. If you ask me, it just took too long to load and it became pretty frustrating. The graphics are great, very smooth, detailed, and lots of flashy combo attacks. Probably not the most realistic looking game, but hey, I couldn't care less. The controls are almost perfect. There were some incidents where they might not respond the correct way, but for the most part, they were fantastic. As you're fighting, you can pause the game and look up combo moves to pull off that can really damage your enemy. Now here's an interesting thing. I don't know why it's like this, but the names for some of the buttons on your controllers are pretty weird. Like for instance, to pull off a vertical attack, you need to press the Y button, but on the help screen they labeled the Y button letter B, and they named the X button letter K. Now I can understand why they would name X letter K, because the X button is the kick button. But why is the Y button labeled B? When I first started to play this game, I didn't know what I was doing wrong because the instructions said to press B, so I did. But the B button on the controller is to actually block or guard, not a vertical strike. So anyway, it can be confusing in the beginning, but easy to figure out. There are many characters you can choose from, but like the Smash Bros. Series, I'd have to say Link is my favorite character. And it's not just because he's Link, but I really believe he is the best character in the game. There are other characters who are very good as well. In fact, they're all good, it's just knowing how to use them. Some of them can be very fun to play as, but I still think Link is the best. There are some characters who would be considered uber cheap, like Ivy. Her weapon is a sword that can extend itself into a dragon's tail sort of thing. It always does high damage, it can stretch out really far, and the computer can be really cheap as her. Oh, and also, some of her moves are almost impossible to pull off. Look at that! Kudos to those of you who can actually perform those moves. Soul Calibur 2 is an excellent game, and is one of my favorite fighters up to date. Great graphics, virtually perfect controls, awesome looking combos, good variety of characters, and a great amount of collectibles. The only downside that I found was that the loading times in Weapon Master mode just took too long in my opinion. But overall, it's still a fantastic game, and I would recommend it to anyone who loves a great fighter. I'd have to say that this is a must-have for anyone who owns a GameCube or Wii. I bet you'll have a lot of fun with it. This game gets a 4.25 out of 5, with the title of awesome.